Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And thank you all for joining me today. If you're joining live, feel free to stop in and say hello. If you're watching the replay or watching this on YouTube later, that's awesome too. I appreciate it anytime that you're checking out one of my videos, and let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you think of the card. Hopefully you like it. Like I said, if I have a few extra minutes today, sorry, I'm trying to get things adjusted and in the right spot so that hopefully I can be more centered on the screen. I find that I oftentimes fall off the bottom of it and don't even realize it. So let's give this a whirl. I'll shove it up a little bit, see if that fixes it. So we're going to make a card today, and if I have a few extra minutes as we get towards the end, I need to be done by about 2:30 so that I can grab my daughter off the school bus. But if we have time, have a few minutes today, this is a pretty quick card to put together. I have a Christmas version that I was going to make with you, so hopefully we'll have a few minutes to do that. If not, I'll kind of walk you through what my plan was with it, and we'll just go from there. All right, so this is the card, one of the cards we're going to be making today. This is the Fall Thanksgiving Thankful Thank You card version of the card that I made. It's pretty quick, just a little bit of designer paper, a couple of die cuts, and a little stamping, and we'll be all done with it. So, all right, so this is the Time of Giving stamp set. That's the one that we're going to be using today. Lots of good sentiments. Again, it kind of crosses multiple seasons here. So we've got fall, Thanksgiving, and Christmas all covered with this one stamp set. Again, some good images in it. And then I really love the dies. This is one of those that I might not necessarily have looked at twice in the catalog until I actually ordered it right away, and because I thought, I don't know, we'll see. But it's got a really good set of dies. So these leaves are actually just cut and embossed by themselves. This little stem does the same thing, and then this little snowflake is a separate die cut. So these actually don't coordinate with any of the stamped images, but they're really nice accessory pieces. And then there's a little star and moon set, and then we've got some snowflakes here, a little bow, there's a Santa and a sleigh, some pumpkins, and then some ornaments. And these are designed to layer on tags. Now again, you can use them on cards if you want to, but that's sort of how they were originally designed, is to use them on tags. So it's a great little set. Hey Barbara, thanks for joining, and Marilyn as well. I appreciate you being here. The dies do cut out a couple of the stamped images, so this is one of them. Hopefully I can get it turned the right way. So the die cuts out this set of leaves, and these are the leaves that I used on the card front. And then it also cuts out this little the little wheat image on here as well. So some of these actually do cut out stamped images, but most of them are just accessory pieces and great kind of layering pieces as well. So that is the die set. These are the Giving Gifts dies, and they coordinate with the Time of Giving stamp set, and they're bundled together in the new mini catalog. I guess it's not so new anymore, the mini catalog. So you can get these now and get a 10% discount if you purchase both of them at the same time in the bundle. All right, let me set that aside. One other thing that I did use on this, of course, my very favorite set of dies. I used the stitched rectangle dies, and I used the second smallest of the kind of narrow rectangles. I don't know how else to describe them other than that, but it's the second smallest of the narrow rectangles, and that's what I cut the sentiment on the card front with. All right, couple things. Celebration is coming to an end, so if you have not got your orders in or haven't joined it and have been thinking about it, you need to do it soon. We've got about 10 days of celebration, actually less than 9 days of celebration left. It ends on September 30th. So during celebration, for every $50 that you order from Stampin' Up, you get a free product from them. So it doesn't get any better than that. And then also during celebration, Stampin' Up has got a great joining promotion. You get a free bundle with your starter kit. So if you have questions about that or want to chat more about how you can get yourself a free bundle, let me know. My email is amy@stampwithamyk.com, or stop by my website, which is stampwithamyk.com. I try to keep it simple. And find out some details there. Again, my contact info is all posted out there, so feel free to let me know if you are interested or have any questions about it. So, hey, Nyoka, I'm glad you're here, and Linda's here, and Karen's here. So the dies are really pretty. It's a good set. All right, then we have got the Ink and Crew World Card Making Day event, which is coming up soon. I can't even believe that we're almost to the end of September. Goodness, I don't know where the year has gone. I guess that means I'm getting old. So I've got the World Card Making Day event. Our team is doing just a fun day. There's no charge, no admission. All you need to do is show up on Facebook. We're going to show you how to make some cards. We're going to share some card project ideas, and it'll just be kind of a fun day of stamping with you guys. Right now we have it scheduled to go from about 9 until about 5 or 6 in the evening, Eastern time. But again, the page will be out there, and if those times don't work for you, you're always welcome to hop in and check out all the videos later on. I will be posting more details about this on my blog, which again is stampwithamyk.com, or in my newsletter and on my Facebook page as the event gets closer. But for right now, just save the date and know that we're going to be out sharing some fun projects with you on World Card Making Day. Hey, Jillian, I'm glad you're here. I know, I don't know where the whole year went. So, hey, Penny and Julie, I'm glad you're here as well. All right, so I did a lot of the cutting ahead of time, some of the die cutting and stamping too, because it's, the same process over and over again. But we have got some of the Harvest Meadows Designer Series paper that I have cut. It is 3 3/4 tall and 3 7/8 across. So it's it's one of those that you kind of got to check and make sure you're putting it on the panel the right way. It should go on like this. So the 3 7/8 should be across, 3 3/4 should be the height of it. And this is Misty Moonlight cardstock, and it is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So it's almost card front size, but not quite. Whoop, and my stamp and seal, there we go. Well, maybe. There we go. I had to get the first glue booger off. So, all right, so we're going to adhere that to the panel. And then we've got another piece of, I keep wanting to call it Nature's Harvest. It's Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper that I've got cut to 1 3/8 by 3 7/8. So that's what the smaller piece is cut to. And again, the details for this are going to be posted on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. So if you're not a subscriber, stop out and subscribe so you can get all the information, all the latest Stampin' Up! News right away as soon as my blog posts go live. But again, this will post at about 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, so all the details will be out there then. And I will link it up in the description of this video as soon as the blog post goes live. All right, so we've got here the little seam in the paper, but no worries. We're going to cover that here with a little bit of linen thread. And we are just going to wrap this right around. I'm going to wrap it twice and then do a little snip. Karen, look away. Yes, it's just my paper snips. Although hopefully she thinks it's more acceptable to hack at my linen thread with my paper snips than it is ribbon. Karen about dies every time I chop up the ribbon with my paper snips, but it's the handy scissors that I have. So, all right, so we're going to tie a little knot. Oh, let me scoot this up just a little bit here so that I can get on screen. And how I usually tie my bows with the linen threads and the thinner, like the baker's twine type things, is I tie a knot first. And then that lets me kind of move it around on the paper, make sure it's in the spot that I want it to be. And then it holds it securely while I tie my bow. And then I can sit and adjust and wiggle the bow and make it look all pretty without having to worry about it all coming undone and without feeling like I have to have 4 hands to be able to manage the bow. All right, so I think I'm going to scoot this over just a little, maybe. If it's going to let me scoot it. Come on. There we go. And I think we should be set, hopefully. I may need to scooch it just a little bit more, but I'll figure that out once I get the sentiment die cut in on the front. I'm going to trim off just a little hair of the linen thread. I may need to trim them both off a little bit. I think I'm going to trim them both off a little bit because I cut one a little shorter and then it was too short and, so here we go. We'll try that again. That is better. Now they both should be close to the same length. So, paper snips are fine for linen thread, you think? Okay, all right. Then we can go with that. All right, I'm going to adhere this to the front of the Crumb Cake card base with some Stampin' Dimensionals, or my little half Stampin' Dimensionals. You like the paper? So yes, it's pretty paper. And like I said, hopefully you like the Christmas one. I use the Peaceful Prints, I almost forgot the name of it. The Celebration paper is the one that I'm planning to use if we have a minute to get to the Christmas card that I was going to show you with this set. Like I said, hopefully we will. If I don't talk too much, we should be able to get both of them done. All right, so we're going to just adhere that to the card front with Stampin' Dimensionals and try to get it centered and straight, which is always my goal, most cards. All right, then on the sentiment, I've just got a little scrap of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to be using Misty Moonlight ink, and then I've got the Thankful sentiment from the Time of Giving stamp set. I don't need to be extremely careful. The only thing is I can't stamp completely crazy on it, but I don't need to be way careful with it. I can stamp it sort of wherever on my scrap of paper because I'm going to be die cutting around it. So I've got that stamped. Let me close up my ink pad before I totally mess all of that up and stick my fingers right in the ink. Yes, I've been known to do that lots of times. Then I'm going to pull out my stitched rectangle dies, and I have got the second smallest, and I'm just going to put it right around here. And we are going to run this through the die cutting machine, which is off to my right, so I'll be off screen for 1 second. I love the colors in this too, and I just pulled them straight out of the Designer Series paper pack, so that's always a good thing. Love that Stampin' Up! Makes the color coordination easy for us. All right, so I'm cutting this off screen, trying not to wiggle the screen too much. And maybe, there we go. Taking me a minute to line it up. All right, set that aside. And we've got our little die cut here. Okay, and we're going to adhere that onto the card front. This is one of those times where if you don't like the half Stampin' Dimensionals, you can look away and use your mini dimensionals if you prefer. I still prefer the half Stampin' Dimensionals, and you know, I don't, everybody has their own thing, and the half Stampin' Dimensionals are mine. So if you prefer to use the mini dimensionals, you can definitely do that. With this sentiment. The main thing you don't want to do is put the dimensionals right over the middle. Well, you can, but it looks a little strange. You get a little lump with the linen thread in there. So what I try to do is try to put the dimensionals around the linen thread so that I don't get anything that looks a little crazy when I stick the sentiment on. All right, then we are just going to stick that on with the Stampin' Dimensionals. I did some stamping and die cutting ahead of time. So I did this is mint macaron. And this is Cajun Craze. And again, I just stamped the little trio of leaves and die cut them ahead of time. And maybe, I just realized I totally forgot. Hold on, let me grab a piece of paper. Hopefully this one's big enough. If it's not, we may end up having to stamp this twice because I was not prepared. So I've got crumb cake ink. Excuse me, and the leaves from the Time of Giving stamp set, and we are just going to ink those up. And again, it's the same process that I used on the other sets here. It's just going to be a matter of stamping and hoping I can get it all on this paper. And if not, we will, I think it's going to work. I think I barely made that one on. Whew. All right, so we're going to close up that ink pad, and then I'm going to take the die from the Giving Gifts dies, and this is the one that coordinates with this image, and we're just going to take it and lay it over the top. What I find easiest on this die set to line up is actually the stems. So you know that if the stems are lined up in there, you should be good to go on the die cutting. So that's where I tried to look, because sometimes if you look too much at the leaves and you start wiggling a little here, wiggling a little there, and then you end up with stems that aren't cut the right way. So, so that is the way it is. So, who and how do you sign up for the 2022 retreat? What is the date? It's actually for our team. So if you join our team, you are welcome to attend the retreat, and it'll be in late October next year. So it was a lot of fun. So. I'm glad that you're enjoying the video from Missouri, so thanks so much for joining. I appreciate that, Corinne, too. Thanks so much. So I'm just die cutting the leaves here off to the right side of my screen. All right, there we go. Got the little leaves die cut. And like I said, barely made it on there with the die cut, but we made it. So, all right, now I'm just going to take my leaves. I'm going to start sort of randomly putting them around the card front. When I first started this, I don't know that I had any special way that I was going to put them on there. I just sort of randomly put them around the card front. And so I've got one of the crumb cake leaves that I put over here. And I've got the Cajun Craze that I put next. Just sort of made them look like they were falling kind of one on top of the other. Then we'll put one of the mint macaron leaves up here underneath my sentiment. Kind of tuck that one in here. And then we've got one of the crumb cake leaves that we'll put in here. And again, I didn't really do like any specific number. I just sort of went, you know, tried to not group all of the same colored leaves together, which since there are only 3 colors, it's, you know, you're going to have some of them that are together, but try not to put them all side by side. Then I've got one of the crumb cake bigger leaves. And actually I feel like there's a Stampin' Dimensional that's right there. So the way that I can get this tucked under the sentiment a little bit further is actually just trim off a wee bit of the leaf and tuck it underneath there. And then we'll put one of the Cajun Craze leaves up here. I don't know, I must have, yeah, I guess maybe I didn't put one of the leaves I've got too close together. I'm not sure if it's this one or this one, but one of them is closer than the other, or than it was on the original card, but that is all right. So that's the fun of a collage. They kind of all come out a little bit differently. Then I've got the mint macaron leaf that I'm tucking in over here, and then the final Cajun Craze that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to put a little glue dot under this side in one of my half Stampin' Dimensionals, or you can use a mini if you prefer those, on the other side. So I've got glue dot here, Stampin' Dimensional there, and then we will just tuck that right around the sentiment so that, keep it on the card front. And I think I turned it I did turn it the other way on this one. So that's it for the card front. So kind of super simple. We've got an extra leaf there. So if you have another project you want to use it on, you definitely can. I've got one of these are the copper brushed metallic dots. They're brushed metallic adhesive back dots, but I'm using the copper version of those dots. So that is what I use to add a little bit of something shiny and pretty to the card front. I will set that aside and get the inside of the card done and stamped for you. That I use crumb cake ink and just stamped the leaves on here twice. So I stamped it so that they kind of came along the one side and then flipped it over and stamped them again here so that they're along the other side. And there you go. That's all that there was to stamping the inside of the card. So super simple on that. Let me close up my ink pad before I stick my fingers in it accidentally. And then I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal, and we're going to adhere that to the inside of the card base. And this card will be all done. So then I can pull out the Christmas one. I think we'll have enough time to get it done. And unless I mess something up and forgot half of something, which could easily be. So that is it for the crumb cake card. Do a little crease with the bone folder, and that's it. So that one's super simple. The Christmas card, Christmas version of the card, I actually use, like I said, some of the pretty Peaceful Prints Designer Series paper, which is some of the free paper you can get from Celebration. So you can get this paper free with an order of $50 or greater through the end of September. So if you don't have a pack of this paper, or like 10 packs of the paper, like I have, you'll definitely need to get your order put in so that you can get a pack of it. So, all right, I'm adhering it down. The cardstock cut sizes are exactly the same on this one. So it's 3 3/4 by 3 7/8. And then 1 3/8 by 3 7/8 on the top part. And we're just adhering it to a panel of garden green cardstock. And again, the garden green is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So that's kind of one of the standard layer sizes that I use for the card fronts. Somewhere I have linen thread. There we go. And we're just going to do the same thing here. We're going to wrap it around the center of the card and tie a little bow. I shouldn't say the center of the card. The seam in the card is what I meant to say. I'm going to tie a little bow with that. And again, I'm just going to use my knot trick that I use where I tie the little knot and hopefully get it in the right spot. So I don't have to wiggle it around too much this time. All right, and then we're going to take this and kind of scooch the linen thread around until the seam is covered the way that I want it to be. And then pull that a little bit tighter. And then we're going to tie our bow so that holds everything in place for me. All right. So there we go. And this one looks like it's a little longer than it probably should be, so I think that looks a little bit better. We'll trim that up just a hair. The sentiment on this one, I used the Mary from the Time of Giving stamp set. And I've got, again, just some basic white cardstock and garden green ink that we're going to be using. And we're going to use the same set of dies. This one actually, oops, I did a total, I felt that double tap, and I knew it was going to look that way as soon as I lifted up the stamp. So there we go. That's better. All right, I've got that, and again, the same die I'm going to use. The die is a little bit longer for this one, which that's okay. It's just a little different look on the sentiment, but we're going to die cut this with the die from the Stitch Rectangles dies. right, so we've got that die cut, and then we're going to use a couple Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere that to the card front. And again, I'm using my little half Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm making sure that I kind of tuck them out close to the edges so that I've got the little gap in the middle for my linen thread to fit into. And, all right, I think we're good on that. Then I'm going to peel a few of the little backings off and stick this to the card front. And then ahead of time, so you didn't have to sit and watch me die cut these over and over again, I did cut some of the snowflakes images from the Brush Metallic cardstock. And I used the gold and the champagne colors, so there are two different, it's not your screen that you're looking at, they're actually two different colors of snowflakes, and I cut 5 of them. I don't know exactly how many we're going to need because I actually didn't put this card together ahead of time. I just sort of am doing it on the fly here as we go, and I had put some of the adhesive adhesive sheets on the back of these, is what I'm trying to say. Let me see if I can get this going. I thought this was going to be easy. There we go. All right, just had to use my scissors to get the adhesive backing to peel off. We're just going to take a couple of these little snowflakes and kind of tuck them around the sentiment. And I'll try not to put too many of the same colors together. Again, just going to pick the adhesive backing off, hopefully. There we go. And I do find that if you have the little take your pick tool, that's a good tool to have handy when you're using the adhesive sheets, because as you can see, they're kind of, once the die cut is done, they kind of get, not smashed, but they attach really well to the back of the die cut. So they can be a little bit, I don't want to say difficult, but a little tricky to remove. So when I use them, I try to have my pick tool, take your pick tool, or my paper snips handy, which of course I didn't bring my take your pick tool, but you can just take that and kind of slide it right underneath the edge, and then you're not sitting and picking at it with your fingernails trying to get the snowflakes to come off. The backing to come off the snowflakes is what I'm trying to say. Let's see, this one I've got. Let me see if I can get this backing. There we go, picked up. So, all right, maybe. And I cut 6 of them, not 5 of them. Apparently I can't count either. I think I will try to maybe tuck that one under here. And then, I don't know, should we put the last one on? I don't think I will. I actually think I kind of like it like that with a few less. So a little bit of something shiny on there. And then I've got some rhinestones that I thought we'd add in, kind of similarly to that we use the copper dots on this one. I thought I would tuck in a couple of little rhinestones here. And these are just the regular rhinestone basic jewels that Stampin' Up! Has that are really pretty and sparkly. So that's basically it for the card front. Then I have got a Sahara Sand card base. Let me get all my extra junk out of the way here. And we're going to adhere that to, or adhere the card front to the Sahara Sand card base. Again, same way with Stampin' Dimensionals. So again, super easy so far. We're at less than, we're about 20 minutes in, and well, I guess 25, but I talked for a while before we got started. So about 20 minutes, and we've almost got 2 cards done. So this is a really simple design that you can use, and I just wanted to show you that you can kind of use it for multiple cards. So 2 totally different occasions, same basic card layout, but the cards look different, completely different when they're all done. All right, so that is the card front. On the inside of the card, I'm using Sahara Sand ink, since that's what I used for the card base. And there's a little winter image, a little snowflake image in the Time of Giving stamp set, and we're going to stamp that sort of like we did with the leaves a couple of times across the bottom of the cardstock. I think I'm going to flip it. Hopefully, I'm probably off screen again. Flip it and stamp it like this, and then do one more over here along the edge. And then I have got this sentiment. There's one of an actual inside of the card sentiment. This can also be used outside, but I thought it would work well on the inside of the card. It says Christmas cheer throughout the year. And I'm going to stamp that in garden green ink on this panel, which I probably should have done that first because hopefully I won't mess it up. And if I do, we'll flip it over and we'll restamp it. All right, so we're going to stamp that up here. How did I do? Is it a little, it's maybe a little crookedy, not too crazy. All right, and then going to add a little Stampin' Seal to the back. I'm going to adhere this to the inside the card base. And again, this is just basic white cardstock cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Same thing on the inside of both cards. And we'll be all done with 2 cards. Right, so there you go. That's the inside of the card. This card base I actually cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored it at 4.25. So it's a different fold. This is the side fold, kind of your standard issue card. This one is a top fold card, but just wanted to show you that either way, whatever your preferred card base is, this card will work with either one of them and works across multiple occasions. So hopefully you like the stamp set. Hope you like the bundle. If you don't have it, you definitely need to get it. And I appreciate y'all being here today. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. I will plan to be live and back, and hopefully back in my normal schedule again. So live on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, around 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday. And then back here on Facebook Live, again, around 2 o'clock Eastern Time next week, Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I guess that's about all. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, we will chat soon.